Now the Spirit of the Lord is the one that speaks through me. Before my mother's womb, he ordained and knew me, ransomed me, and placed his words upon my tongue. Few are chosen, rest assured that I am one, an ambassador for Christ, his beloved son. And by his word, let souls be one. So welcome everyone to this listening party. Sit back and let your souls be hearty. Celebrate with me the gift that God has imparted. And what better way to get this party started than to give him the stage, because he knows where your heart is. Holy Spirit, you are welcome in this place. Give me the boldness to look upon each face and speak every word that you've given me to say. With no fear, I speak truth. I won't deviate, and I'm confident that all will go great. So let your presence saturate this place. I breathe in your spirit, I intake a river full of life, water in every dry place. As I flow to the notes that heaven navigates, let it bless every listener and free them today. Let the truth of your word draw souls to be saved. Let the comforter comfort hearts today, and let the light of your word show them the way. Every time I write, I tell his story as I bask in the truth of his word before me. He opens up to me and shows me his glory. He gives me the strength to keep on soaring, and when I open up my mouth, for him I'm roaring. And the Spirit of the Lord goes before me, to the captive set free, that's reassuring. Over the years he strengthened my inner core, and every day I wake up just seeking him more. Am I ready for this? In my spirit I'm sure I am in Christ, and my Father I adore. He redeemed me from destruction, I am his ambassador. As the world turns and open up the door, I step in with purpose to win souls for the Lord. Every time I write, I tell a story as I bask in the truth of his word before me. Every time I write, I tell a story as I bask in the truth of his word before me. Every time I write, I tell a story as I bask in the truth of his word before me. Every time I write, I tell a story as I bask in the truth of his word before me. Every time I write, I tell a story as I bask in the truth of his word before me.
Hey, welcome to Tom the Bomb Sports Talk, the fastest growing show in the world. It's Monday, August 11th, and this is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. If you don't think it's a great day, just try missing one. And we LOVE love sports and the Word of God on the Tom the Bomb Show. And yes, we are live on Facebook. Our contact number here is 301-655-9992. And you can catch all replays immediately after the live show on YouTube at Tom the Bomb Sports Talk. You can also contact us by email at info@tomthebombsports.com. And of course, you can always visit our website at www.tomthebombsports.com. Hey, gang, I'd like to personally thank you guys for your prayers, your support. We've heard you loud and clear. For everyone that have reached out wanting to contribute to our show and our ministry, we sincerely thank you. With that, we appreciate your patronage, and you can bless us to keep creating content and spreading the word of God. Our business cash app is hashtag $ Tom the Bomb Sports Talk. That's $ Tom the Bomb Sports Talk. We sincerely thank you, and may God bless you 100-fold on the return of the seed that you've sown into our ministry. Dr. Lauren and I appreciate it at the Tom the Bomb Show. As usual, we want to start off by thanking God for all the wonderful things that he's already done for us in 2025. Our theme, of course, for 2025 is living in the grace realm. And our foundational scripture for all of 2025 is found in 2 Corinthians 9:8. And this is the Passion Translation. And it says, yes, God is more than ready to overwhelm you with every form of grace, so that you will have more than enough of everything, every moment, and in every way. He will make you overflow with abundance in every good thing that you do. Hey, gang, we got a poll question for you guys today. Our poll question today is, will Tommy Fleetwood win on the PGA Tour? Will Tommy Fleetwood win on the PGA Tour? And we're going to get into this poll question as we get into our first topic, because we're going to be talking a little golf off the top. No trivia, but that's our poll question. And I got a kind of a premature reading today from some of my golfing buddies. I'll share that with you in just a little bit. But let's get right into our first topic. Hey, Justin Rose wins the 2025 FedEx St. Jude Championship and a playoff duel with U.S. Open against U.S. Open champ J.J. Spaun as Tommy Fleetwood collapses again. Okay. Like I mentioned, Rose and Spaun battled through three sudden death holes before the first leg of the 2025 FedEx Cup playoffs was settled. From out of nowhere and into the winner's circle, Justin Rose raced through the finish line and a congested chasing pack atop the leaderboard Sunday to edge out, like I said, U.S. Open champ J.J. Spaun across three sudden death playoff holes and to claim the first leg of the FedEx Cup playoffs. Was settled at the 2025 St. Jude's Championship. It was Rose's first PGA Tour win since 2023, atoning for a playoff loss early in the year against the sacrificial lamb, Rory McIlroy, early this year at the Masters. Rose played great coming down the stretch. He made six birdies over his last eight holes, including a barrage of four straight birdies from holes 14, 15, 16, and 17, posting a final round 67, finishing at 16 under par. Rose found himself three shots behind the 54-hole leader, Tommy Fleetwood. Okay. At 45, Justin Rose becomes the oldest winner on the PGA Tour since Phil Mickelson at the 2021 PGA Championship. Now, the big news for Justin Rose is the win pushes him inside the top five of the FedEx Cup standing, assuring him of a spot in the Tour Championships for the first time since 2019. Finishing second was J.J. Spaun, who had J.J. Spaun had a great tournament as he continues to prove that he's no flash in the pan. His dream season continues. He's now number three in the FedEx Cup standings, only behind superstar Scotty Scheffler and Rory McIlroy. J.J. Spaun is single-handedly driving the sails up on the lap putter DF3. What you think, Troy? He sank another big putt beyond 30 feet. And listen to this, these $600 plus putters are selling like hotcakes. I went to visit Troy at Top Golf, and Troy was telling me, yeah, Dad, it's so funny. He said, that's the stock model. And I'm like, what? Like when you go buy a car and it has all the standard features on. He's like, well, this shaft here, this is a much better shaft. And it's this, and this shaft here costs an extra $120. So the stock price on that DF3 lap putter is $600, but that's stock. That's not none of the fancy stuff. Okay. But JJ Spaun personally is responsible for these putters, just like I said, selling like hotcakes and flying off the rack. The second place finish secures a spot on the Ryder Cup for JJ Spaun, and with two more playoff events to go, Spaun has a great chance to keep cashing big checks during his breakout season. Big checks, Daddy? Yeah, big checks, Daddy. Okay. Will Tommy Fleetwood ever win on the PGA Tour? So this is our poll question. Of course, we want you guys you can comment in on Facebook. If you want to shoot us messages on our email, you can do that. But, today, I was out with my golfing guys and I posed this question to all of them. And, you know, uh, right off the bat, quite a few of them said, well, Tom, he's too good not to win. It's just a matter of time before he wins. But then some of them was like, he hasn't won yet. He's had multiple chances, and he just can't get across the finish line. So, what do you guys think? We want to know if you know. Well, Troy, is Tommy Fleetwood ever going to win on the PGA Tour? It was another painful defeat for Tommy Fleetwood, who seems to find new and excruciating ways to blow leads every time. Every time that he's in contention at a PGA Tour event. On Sunday, Tommy walked to this par 5 16th hole with the tournament in his hands. It's a par 5 that every single pro can reach the green into. So even though it's a par 5, it's really, really playing like a par 4. And instead of taking advantage of the opportunity, Fleetwood carded a bad par. You say, well, par is never going to be a bad score. This was a bad par. And then he went on to bogey the 17th hole, and that brought the pack back into the race. Uh, this was Fleetwood's sixth third place finish. Okay. He has the most top 10 finishes than any player listen to this, over the last 40 years on the PGA Tour, to have that many top 10s and to not have won on the PGA Tour. As usual, Tommy did a good, he did good things to put himself in position to win. He just can't get it across the finish line. He just can't finish in first place. Again, we'll have to, you know, uh, now check this out. Okay, so again, we're going to have to feel really, really bad for Tommy Fleetwood as he takes home his third place check of $1.1 million for 4 days' work for coming in T3 with Scotty Scheffler. Oh, poor Tommy. He finished third again. He's only taking home $1.1 million for 4 days' work. Meanwhile, Justin Rose walks away with the first place check of $3.6 million, and JJ Spaun second place for this check of $2.1 million. Okay, say it with me. Say it with me. Say it with me. Get your kids out playing golf. Get your kids out playing golf. Stop rolling them the basketball. Stop throwing them the football. Get your kids out playing golf. Let's move on to our next topic. Let's talk a little Major League Baseball. We haven't really talked baseball since the All-Star, and excuse me. And this is a good time to kind of get a after All-Star break update on Major League. So let's talk real quick about our current Major League power rankings. Okay. Uh, to a lot of people's surprise, at number one is the Milwaukee Brewers. Are the Brewers the best team in Major League Baseball? you, well, I'll tell you what, they're the hottest team in Major League Baseball. They're 21-4 since the All-Star break. This team is well-rounded. They're the only team in the major leagues that has 70 wins. Okay. They've won 9 of their last 10 games. And last night, they were playing the New York Mets, who are a playoff team themselves. And the Mets had them down 5-0. And the Brew Crew came back and won 7-6. Man, they are playing baseball in Milwaukee. Their manager, I feel like, was one of the best managers in Major League Baseball, and he left to go to the Chicago Cubs. The Cubs just offered him a boatload of money, and he went to the Cubs. So they brought in a new guy, and the new guy won Manager of the Year last year. But I think he's doing a better job even this year. The Brew Crew is hot. They're man, you know what? They kind of play like a Japanese team. Japanese team? What are you talking about, Tom? The World Baseball Classic is eventually going to come up. And since they started this, no country has won it more than Japan. No, no country. Not the United States, not the Dominican Republic with all those stars in the Dominican Republic, not Cuba with all those stars in Cuba, not Puerto Rico with all those major league players. Japan. Japan is the country that wins the World Baseball Classic because they play fundamental baseball. They do everything. They play the way the Cardinals used to play. And that's what the Brewers are playing like. Let me give you another example. If I can take you back to the 1984, 85, 86 Boston Celtics, or even a little bit more, how about the San Antonio Spurs with what's the center name for the Spurs when they had Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili and what's that center name, Lori? Well, you guys know what was it?
From St. Croix.
From St. Croix, yeah. You guys know what I'm talking about. But that San Antonio Spurs team, that Boston Celtics team, they played fundamental. But it was beautiful to watch. Even
Timmy Duncan.
Timmy Duncan. Thank you, Lori. See, I know Lori's gonna. Timmy Duncan. And even when my Golden State Warriors were going through that phase where they were winning it quite often. Man, they were playing beautiful poetry in motion, and that's what the Milwaukee Brewers are playing like. They're playing like a Japanese team. Hey, Stevie, hey, Troy, David Robinson, not David Robinson, Troy. Timmy Duncan, Lori nailed it. So the Milwaukee Brewers are at number one. The number two power rank team is, of course, the Los Angeles Dodgers. Now, the Dodgers have been stumbling in July, going 9-8 since July 20th, with only a 3-game lead over the San Diego Padres. That's shocking because they're just 3 games ahead of the Padres. Yet they still have the second best record in all the National League at 67-49. But look, but their arms are coming back. Blake Snell's coming back. Tyler Glass now is coming back. And Shohei Ohtani is coming back to the mound. Shohei Ohtani has now started pitching. This guy is Tom Bomb's a seam head. Baseball is my favorite sport. I know baseball the way Troy knows football. Uh, Shohei Ohtani is the greatest baseball player to ever live. Period. I don't care what nobody says. He is. Shohei is coming back to the mound, and he looked great against my St. Louis Cardinals over the weekend, striking out 8 St. Louis Cardinals over the week with 4 scoreless innings pitched. Believe it or not, the Cardinals won that game. Okay, and by the way, not only is Shohei the greatest player, he's also Dr. Lauren's favorite player. He just hit his 40th dinger, his 40th homer. He's the fastest to reach 40 homers in Dodger franchise history in just 115 games. Now you think about all the great players that have played for the Los Angeles Dodgers, and Shohei Ohtani has reached 40 home runs quicker than anyone in their franchise history. And he's one of their best pitchers as well. Man, this is unbelievable, man. This is like this is like an offensive lineman being the fastest guy on your team. That's crazy. You can't be 6'8" and 315 pounds and running a 4.240. You can't do that. That's what Shohei is doing in baseball. He's the best hitter, and not just power hitter. He's the best hitter for average. He's the best hitter for power. He's a 5'2" player. He runs, he throws, he hits, and he's your best pitcher too. Wow. Wow, is all I can say. So the Dodgers come in at number two. At number three is the Detroit Tigers. Now, the Tigers fired off 4 straight wins to end July to bounce back from their funk. And let me just say this: the Dodgers, the Tigers, the Cubs, baseball plays 162 games. There's no team in Major League Baseball that's not going to go through a slump. They're not going to go. All of them are going to hit that wall. Okay, so the Dodgers hit a wall. The Detroit Tigers, like I said, have hit a wall. But like I said, they fired off with 4 straight wins at the end of July to bounce back from their funk. But they've got to get better pitching from their bullpen. Their bullpen has a 4.67 ERA, and they've given up 5 homers allowed. That's not going to get it done. Okay, but like I said, like the Dodgers, they're still sporting a record of 67-50, and they hold a 6-game lead over the Cleveland Guardians. Okay, at number 4 is the Chicago Cubs. Okay, like the Dodgers, like the Tigers, the Cubbies have hit their midseason wall, and since the All-Star break, their big four hasn't been hitting at all. They haven't been hitting since before the All-Star break, but just what the doctor ordered is a series with their rivals, the St. Louis Cardinals, to get them back on track. But hey, not so fast, my friend. It didn't exactly work out as the Redbirds actually took 2 out of 3 from the Cubbies. The Cubs are 4-6 in their last 10 games, and they're having trouble keeping up with the Milwaukee Brewers, the Brew Crew. They now find themselves 5 games behind the Milwaukee Brewers in the National League Central. I think I think Chicago's too good not to be in the hunt, though. At the very least, they'll be in it in a wild card. They may or may not chase down the Milwaukee Brewers to win the NL Central division, but they're too good. They're too good not to make the playoffs. Like I said, going into the All Star break, they had 4 guys with over 20 home runs and over 70 RBIs. 4 guys. My St. Louis Cardinals don't have one player even close to 20 home runs and no players even close to 70 RBIs. You know, uh, that's what they're missing. Okay. In retrospect, Kyle Schwarber, who we're going to talk about in a minute, the Phillies, Kyle Schwarber is leading the National League with 41 dingers and 95 RBIs. Cardinals got nobody on their team even close to that. Nobody. You got to have a banger, man. You got to have a big dumper somewhere on your team. We're going to talk about him in a second, too. Hey, let's get to the Phillies. At number 5, we got the Philadelphia Phillies. They're maintaining a steady pace, and uh, they look scary to me for the playoffs. Uh, you know, they're right at the top of their division, but it's somehow they're kind of going under the radar. And I think they're going to hold off the New York Mets in the National League East. Like I mentioned to you, Kyle Schwarber is putting up MVP-like numbers, leading the National League with 41 dingers and 95 RBIs, anchoring a star-studded lineup that has Bryce Harper and Trey Turner in the lineup. Look, man, when you can overshadow Bryce Harper and Trey Turner, you're having a good year. And like the Dodgers, their pitching is starting to come back. They got a young pitcher that's coming up, and some of their studs. These guys, they just get hurt, man. 162 games, man. It's hard for them to make it through the whole season without having injuries. But I think this is kind of going to be like my dark horse team for the playoffs, because that's really like I said, it's a star-studded lineup that they have in Philadelphia. At number 6, we got the Houston Astros. The Houston Astros are going back vintage. They brought back Carlos Correa from the Minnesota Twins. He's playing a less demanding position. They moved him from shortstop to third base, and they're just a game ahead of the Seattle Mariners, who have made significant moves during the trade deadline. Uh, uh, the Astros didn't do much. But man, the Astros have the best front office in baseball. The Astros front office used to be the St. Louis Cardinals front office. The architect, when the Cardinals were winning, all of that moved to Houston. And Houston have gotten rid of some significant stars, and they just keep retooling. They let Kyle Tucker go to the Chicago Cubs, and Kyle Tucker is an absolute stud for the Cubs. That was a great move for the Cubs. And Astros just let him go, and they just keep retooling, and they just keep rolling, and they just keep winning. So you always got to keep your eye on the Astros because, like I said, they have the best organization in baseball. And what do we always say? You cannot overcome bad leadership. But when you have great leadership, the way the Houston Astros do, you're always going to find yourself near the top. The cream always rises. At number 7, we got the San Diego Padres. Like the Seattle Mariners, they added a lot at the trade deadline to help run down the Dodgers. So, and it's basically it's paying dividends. Ryan O'Hearn and Ramon Laureano have been contributors for the Friars. Surprisingly, they're keeping pace with the Dodgers at 64-52 record. They have the best bullpen ERA in baseball. And look, baseball always comes down to pitching. What do I always say, Lori? Good pitching
Beats good hitting.
beats good hitting. Good pitching beats good hitting. And like I said, they have the best ERA in baseball, along with a dangerous lineup. But their next 13 games are against the San Francisco Giants, divisional rivals, and the Los Angeles Dodgers. So we can really hit the make and break point for the Friars. If they can come through this 13-game stretch and still be close, they'll be there. I still think they're, at the very least, they're a wild card team if they don't run down the Dodgers, which I really don't think anybody is. The baseball season has been exciting. We've had a lot of good teams and a lot of surprises. And the great thing about sports is you can't play these games on paper. You got to play them on the field. But I'd be hard pressed to go against the Dodgers. Because like I said, they're getting that pitching back. And, I'd be hard pressed to go against the Dodgers. At number 8, we got the Boston Red Sox. Dunkin' Donuts. The Red Sox did nothing at the deadline. And some people think they actually got worse, losing Rafael Devers and James Tibbs for rental and Dustin May, who came from the Dodgers. But the Red Sox are still hot. They've been 12-5 since July 20th, and they're just 3 games behind the Toronto Blue Jays. Garrett Crochet looks like he could be an AL Cy Young candidate, and that's saying a lot with that kid in Detroit, because that kid in Detroit looks like he might be the best pitcher in baseball. But Garrett Crochet, he could sneak in and win the AL Cy Young, which would be amazing. He's, like I said, Canada. And then they still have Aroldis Chapman. Uh, Aroldis Chapman got that Dick Clark thing going on, man. I think Aroldis Chapman is like 72 or 73, something like that. Uh, he, he, he got that Dick Clark thing on, never aging. And and here's the thing about it: at his advanced age, he's still throwing triple digits. This guy can still get it up to 100 miles an hour at his age. So he's holding it down. He's holding down the ninth inning. And then most importantly, the thing that I like most about the Red Sox is their manager, Alex Cora, at the helm. It wouldn't surprise me if the Red Sox end up winning their division. And I think that's going to shock a lot of people. But, we talk about leadership, and Alex Cora is one of the best in the business from the managing standpoint. At number 9, we got the Toronto Blue Jays. The Blue Jays seem to be going in the opposite direction of the Red Sox. They're they're 5-5 in their last 10 games, but 3 of those 5 wins came against the Major League Baseball worst Colorado Rockies. Okay, so even the 5-5, you said they're playing 500 ball. Come on, man, they won 3 games over the Rockies. Uh, they've got the Dodgers. They've got the Dodgers, the Cubs coming up, and the resurgent Rangers coming up. So I think I think they'll be out of first place after this stretch. That's what I think. Okay. And then at number 10, we have the Seattle Mariners. Seattle Mariners went lock and load at the trade deadline, and they're reaping the rewards provided by the new guys. Josh Naylor has clubbed 3 dingers, and and has led them to a 5-game win streak, pulling just 1.5 game behind the Houston Astros. And then, of course, they've got Cal, the big dumper Riley, who's leading the American League in homers. Cal has evolved into one of the best, not just a slugger, he's leading the league in home runs, but he's one of the best hitters in Major League Baseball, not just a homer hitter. And then Julio Rodriguez has resurged. He's hit 7 home runs in 21 games in the second half. So they're on a roll. Hey gang, let's take a break. And when we come back, we're gonna have 5 good country minutes with Mr. Felix Bassi. See you guys in a minute.
Window Nation is on the Morgan's home turf to huddle up about replacing their drafty old windows.
This free estimate is showing how easy it is to tackle the problem.
We can get any of these windows custom made.
Yes, you can get the quality and style you really want.
And at a more affordable price than they ever imagined.
Now that they've sealed the deal, they'll be saving money year-round.
We're really confident with Window Nation.
Get your free estimate today and get 60% off all windows plus no interest or payments for 24 months at getwindownation.com.
Sheltered by the Sea of Cortez, Danzante Bay is a pure and peaceful oasis, an uncrowded retreat where your options are as vast as your views. If you're seeking a vacation that defines luxury and the true relaxation, look no further than Villa del Palmar at the islands of Loreto. A splendor of true Mexican hospitality effortlessly blends with rich materials and insatiable comforts to bring guests the ideal home away from home experience. With its quiet beaches, scenic vistas, rich history, and an astounding surrounding natural habitat, you'll feel as though you've been swept off to paradise. Not to be outdone, Reese Jones has crafted TPC Danzante Bay, a brilliant, multi-themed 18-hole golf course that runs over and through valleys, arroyos, dunes, and foothills. From every angle, striking images of the islands of Loreto and the surrounding mountain range take your breath away, while the challenging yet rewarding Baja golf course beckons you to return for more. It is an honor and my pleasure to welcome you to the world's most beautiful sunset and so much more.
And we're back with the best 5 country minutes in sports. You know, if you grew up in the South, when the South, they say, you know what, it's just about a mile down the road. When somebody in the South tells you that, that mile, that could be like 5 or 6 miles. When they say it's 1 mile. So these are our 5 country minutes with Mr. Felix Bassi. So it might not exactly be 5 minutes, but it'll be good. How you doing, Felix?
Doing well.
Good. You getting ready for school, my friend?
Of course.
Hey, let's start right off with the top. Let's talk about Shedeur Sanders. He's letting his play do all of the talking, going 14 for 23 for 130 yards passing with 2 passing TDs and a win over the Carolina Panthers in his first NFL preseason game. Now, I always say this, look, an opportunity will only make you look bad if you're not properly prepared. With the injuries and a crowded quarterback room in Cleveland, Shedeur got the opportunity to start and played 45 snaps, and he did what he was supposed to do. He played well, especially when he didn't get any snaps with the first team and practice. Wait, Felix, we talking about practice? Not a game. We're talking about practice. What's your take on Shedeur, Felix?
Well, stats, all are great, but here's another one: 106.8 rating.
Wow.
Here's the thing with Shedeur Sanders. You look at his stat line, what he's able to do against starters. Again, this is early on the game during preseason, so it's against starters. So you don't see the stat line out of a fifth rounder. I just have to be honest. I like Sanders. Proved all the doubters wrong. And the fact of the matter is, even if you don't take the first overall, there's no reason, absolutely no reason why all those teams should pass on him and all the way down to the fifth round at that. So I like how he dispelled all those narratives that every honest person knew was, false.
Uh, you know, there's been rumors going on, Felix. They're talking about that since just this first preseason game, and and listen, gang, I always say this: when you see something on Facebook, you can believe that 99.5% of it is fake and phony. I'm serious. You can if it's on Facebook, it's it's not 100%, but it's close. But
Maybe they should call it fake book.
fake book. Lori says we should call it fake book instead of Facebook. But check this out, though. I was reading that 9 different teams have contacted the Cleveland Browns about acquiring Shedeur Sanders to come play for them. Now, that's just flat out ridiculous considering all the teams that passed on him, all the teams that let him fall to the fifth round. I mean, this is just getting utterly ridiculous. I mean, it's so obvious that the way they feel about Deion Sanders has harmed Shedeur Sanders. What's your take on this, Felix?
I mean, again, it goes back to what I said. It's there's no justifiable reason for us to fall that far in the draft. I'm just going to say that. To anyone who disagrees with me, I want them to look at these high example, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not like just quarterbacks. So there's no room for any sort of orange apples or anything. Quarterbacks came in between mid first round all the way down to the fifth. I want someone with a straight face to tell me any one of those names is better than Shedeur Sanders. I mean, I know it's really his thing. Do they honestly think that he's better than any of them?
You know, man, in football, in particularly in football, as a matter of fact, I played high school, I played college football, and man, I heard so many coaches would say this, and it's true. The film don't lie. The film don't lie. I don't want to hear what your excuse is. The film doesn't lie. And the film that was on Shedeur Sanders was enough where he didn't really even need to go to any what do they call them, the pre things, where they throw or do it. Yeah, combines. Yeah. Just look at the film. Look at the film. What's this kid that won the Heisman? He's the starting wide receiver for the Philadelphia Eagles. He won the Heisman for Alabama. What's his name, Felix? No.
No,
Wide receiver.
Davante Adams.
Wide receiver.
Javonte
Number
Smith.
the Slim Reaper. They call him the Slim Reaper. He you know what I'm talking about? He won the Heisman for Alabama. He's the starting wide receiver, number 6 for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Isn't he Devonta Smith?
Yeah, Devontae Smith. Right. I was getting an echo. Yeah. But when he was in college, everybody kept saying, "Well, he's really too small. He only weighs this amount." And every time they would say that to him, he would say, "Look at the film. Look at the film. Look at the film. Look at the film." Man, how could they not look at the film on Shedeur Sanders and see what we're seeing now? All he's doing is what he did over the last 3 years. He ain't doing no more. He ain't doing no less. He's doing, and the film says that he was clearly the second best quarterback in the draft, and this guy falls to the 5th round.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. It's 2025, and you would think we've gotten past most of this in America, but it just ain't so. It just ain't so. It's really really sad. It really is sad. Let's talk about this. Did you have anything else you want to add on Shedeur, Felix?
Pretty much said what needs to be said.
Mhm. What do you guys think out there in Cyberland? Are they doing this to Shedeur to get back at Dion? What do you guys think? Chime in and let us know. Hey, Felix, we had Cam Little kicked a 70-yard field goal. And the thing that was shocking to me is it could have been 75 yards and it still would have been good. This guy drilled that kick like it was an extra point. He, he you, you know, I tell some of my golfing buddies, "Hey, what you doing?" I say, "I'm at the driving range." I say, "I'm picturing your face on my balls and I'm mashing them." this this guy this guy kicked that field goal, kicked that football like it was somebody that he was mad at, man. This is now it doesn't count because it's the preseason, but the NFL record for field goal, the longest field goal is 66 yards. And this guy kicked this 70-yard field goal. And I'm telling you, if it had been 75 yards, it still would have been good. What's your take on this guy?
Saying is that's not going to be the last time we see that. I know the Jaguars at one point in the season, mark my words, sooner or later, last play of the first half, they're going to line it up and kick a 70-yarder and break the record. That's not the last 70-yarder you want to see. Especially concerning the fact that he's going to be playing indoor stadiums later on this year or whatever. He's going to break that record. It's just a matter of time. So,
Well, what
beautifully placed it was right down the middle.
he drilled it, man. He drilled it like it was a ducky. You know, he drilled it, man. Now, most teams don't want to try a field goal of that length because if you miss it, the offense takes over the ball deep in your own territory. But you know what? If they let that guy run, he's kicked that field goal many times in practice. They've seen him do this to even run him out and try it in a preseason game. But I'm in agreement with you, Felix. I don't think it's going to be the last time we see this from Cam Little.
It's going to be like in a situation where it's the end of the half, so they miss the kick. The other team doesn't have the same response, so it's like games for the fan. And it's going to happen this year.
Yeah, they might have to check him for the juice. Hey Felix, let's get an update on first of all let's go with Scary Terry McLaurin and Trey Hendrickson. What's the update on them?
Say there's been no recent development in the McLaurin situation. That was just all speculation. But even the most optimistic people in the situation in local media, they're starting to have some doubts at this point because they're looking at the fact that okay, Terry, the most recent negotiation was only $3 million, and it seems like no action has been taken. So this is a repeat of what we saw with Jamar Chase last year. It's a repeat of what we saw earlier this season in Cleveland with their starting position. So it's really, it's a possible, but I'd say 9 out of 10 chance he's going to be suited up as a Washington Commander this year. But it's not a good look. I don't like what's happening. I don't like the looks of it. But I think the may solve
Troy says that Felix, what hurts their soul though is the fact that he's composed and mature about everything that's happening around him with Terry. Yeah. You know what, man? Uh, the Commanders have a good thing going, and uh, I don't care if it's $2 or $3 million they're apart, whatever it is. Man, don't don't stop this train over a lousy $2 or $3 million. And in retrospect, for with ownership and with the Commanders, that's nothing. That's nothing, man. Don't slow this train down. Don't take JD5's favorite target away from him. One of my favorite movies is Rounders. Pay that man his money. Yeah, pay that man his money. The market has been set. There's guys out there that that I wouldn't take over Terry McLaurin, and they're making more money than him. You got to pay the guy what he's worth, man. How about Trey Hendrickson in Cincinnati? It's funny because Joe Burrow, whom I love, Joe Burrow says you are going to pay Jamar Chase and you are going to pay my other receiver, and they got it done. But the best player on the defensive side of the ball, you won't, and he's clearly one, two, at the worst, third best defensive end. I think he's between one and two, but at the worst, third best defensive end in all of the NFL. And we already know what the market has been set there, and they just won't pay. But Cincinnati has been famous for not paying guys. But man, Cincinnati at the end of last year, the team that you didn't want to play were the Cincinnati Bengals. You did not want to see them at the end of the year, man. And the only reason they were in the predicament that they were in, yeah, the offense was scoring 35, 38, 41 points a game, but that's because the defense was giving up 45. And if you're going to take the best player off your defensive team off of a defense that's already weak, this just don't make sense, Felix.
I think what the Bengals are doing, they realize that the nucleus of the team is their two-star receivers and Joe Burrow. And although Hendrickson's an amazing player, he's kind of in an island. Their favorite player point over, hey, our defense doesn't have to be great. Really, it just has to be okay. That's really the mindset if they're getting a team NFL their offense. So they're probably figuring if we can let Hendrickson go, this is probably their thought process. And I see Hendrickson, maybe they don't negotiate with Hendrickson. Maybe they're playing shots. They're thinking, okay, we could probably cast some defensive backs with low, that kind of low, they're going to ask them for a low amount.
Mhm.
And you can negotiate later. You just need to have them in right now because the Islanders have the star receivers. You got one of the best quarterbacks in football. I put Burrow right on the Mahomes. I put him around.
Mhm.
But here's the thing.
I do too.
The problem is their defensive backs keep selling. It's been the problem the last 4 years. And honestly, I can see the Bengals letting go of Hendrickson. And this might be controversial, but I actually would understand it.
Where should Hendrickson go if Cincy doesn't want him? The answer to that is anywhere. Everybody wants him. Matter of fact, all of these three guys we're going to talk about, everybody wants them. But let me just mention this too, because by the way, Troy says that his comment was concerning Shedeur Sanders. That about he says his comments were about Shedeur Sanders, not Terry McLaurin. But let me just get this out here. When you have guys like Scary Terry, Trey Hendrickson, who are they're they're not just the best players at their position, but they're leaders in the clubhouse. We always talk about chemistry when we talk about sports. So when you talk about the leaders in the clubhouse, and then ownership won't take care of the leaders, a guy like Scary Terry, who's done everything right since he's been in Washington, and you won't pay that guy. What kind of message does that send to the rest of the team, Felix?
That's a great question. At that point, I would understand that the rest of the teams, they would see that and try to get the most money out.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
If you take it the wrong way, to your point, this could probably hurt team around. If there's a number of different negatives this could do.
mhm. Yeah. Well, look, let's talk about the third guy. Let's talk about Michael Parsons. Now, I personally don't think that Jerry Jones wants to sign Michael Parsons for personal reasons. Okay. Now, I don't necessarily think it's racism as much as it's placism. Okay. Placism. Know your place. I think he's rubbed Jerry Jones the wrong way. He doesn't like the type of guy that Michael Parsons is. I think Jerry wants you to understand your place in Dallas. And I think Micah could give a rat's fat back what Jerry thinks. I don't think he likes the fact that he has his own podcast. I don't think that he talks open. I mean, come on, that's what a podcast is for, where people get ready to be able to talk about what they think. And I don't think he likes the fact that Micah has a podcast. I don't think he likes the fact that Micah doesn't. And this is not hard to believe. I can't say this any. Micah doesn't kiss Jerry Jones's butt, and Jerry Jones is the type of guy if you're around Jerry Jones, your nose is brown. Okay, I'm sorry, that's just how it is. And I think it's personal, and I don't think he wants to pay Micah. And then to what Lori was saying, well, who would want Micah Parsons? Everybody, every team in the NFL would want Micah Parsons. What's your take on this, Felix?
And plus, I think really go into that racial angle you're talking about, racism and placism.
Hmm.
It's kind of the intersectionality here. I'm going into my political science thing here.
Oh, I love it. I'm getting excited already, Felix.
You look at this, right? And you look at that Parsons has a podcast. Look at the fact that Parsons, he's not quote unquote in line with what Jerry Jones wants. And this looks relatively mild. And you juxtapose that to Bryce Harper. And this is not to shade Bryce Harper. He's one of my favorite all-time players with the Nationals.
Mhm.
But I have to say, he said something to the commissioner of Major League Baseball
Mhm.
to his face.
Uh-huh.
And there's no controversy about it. The fans love it. I mean, the fans love it. The league's taking no action. And he actually used choice language.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
To the commissioner of the league, and there's been no repercussion. Michael Parsons. Now, I don't know what's happening behind the scenes in Dallas. They're doing a good job keeping whatever behind closed doors and the specifics, but it wouldn't be illogical for me to assume that's probably what's happening. To be honest with you,
Felix, I love that take. And as you were talking, what it because certain people can do and say certain things that other people can't say. And when you were saying that, one of the things I was thinking about was I was listening to a skit that Dave Chappelle was doing, and he was talking about when he was riding with one of his white friends and they got pulled over by the police. And he was talking about the things that his white friend said to the police officer. I'm sorry, officer, I'm a little high. But you're absolutely right because Bryce Harper went off on the commissioner, and Bryce Harper was 100% correct. But you're right. There was no fallback on Bryce Harper. What if that had have been somebody? Let's just say somebody else on the Phillies that wasn't Bryce Harper. Or a Michael Parsons. I totally feel you and get what you're saying. Because
would be in the league probably. It's that would be.
yeah. Yeah. And you think that's very interesting, but unfortunately, placism it's a form of racism. And racism is not what people really think it is. Okay. Racism is the enemies, it's his number third child right behind sickness and disease. The enemy uses racisms to divide. That's its only purpose, to divide and conquer. And that's what he's continually used in America and all over the world. Okay. Racism to divide people, to stop them from coming on one accord. So it's very, very interesting. But as great as Michael Parsons is, I really don't think Jerry Jones wants him in Dallas. I mean, come on, man. You've been knowing, and we talked about this before, Felix. He could have had Michael Parsons for a whole lot. The same way he could have, Dak Prescott's making $60 million. He's making more money than anybody in the history of the NFL. He could have had Dak Prescott for $40 million. That's 20 million less than what he's paying now. But he kept kicking the can down the road, kicking the can down the road, kicking the can down the road until the bill came due. Now, what's interesting is Jerry Jones likes Dak Prescott, okay? But he doesn't like Michael Parsons. And he could have paid Michael Parsons uh, last year and saved $5 to $10 million easily, if not more. But now you're gonna have to pay the guy, you know. So it's interesting, man. It's interesting. You got anything else on the NFL for me, Felix, or anything else you want to talk about before we check out?
Say one thing for the Commanders game. I'm seeing a lot of people going full catastrophe mode over the Commanders losing 30 points. Number one, it's preseason. Number two, don't worry. 53. I'm sorry I have to say this. I didn't watch it. 30 of our starters, the majority of the team didn't play.
Mhm.
So, see, for the people who are starters that were in the game, they did well. That's all I care about. I think Steve Merritt, he's very elusive. Reeves, he was playing solid physical defense. I was more concerned he was injured some of what he was doing, but he turned out fine. And I also like the fact that we got blitz. Or we played very good zone covers as starters, and we also had successful blitz on a dime package, which is insane. It was a sack fumble. So again, I just saw good signs. I don't care about that box score. It's preseason. That's the
Right.
wrong thing to look at. So I
Right.
just want that's for my followers, and I know a lot of people were upset about that preseason game. That was nothing.
I'm glad you brought that up, Felix, because I'm excited about football starting off. But I'm gonna tell you, Tom the Bomb don't watch no preseason football. Now I know Troy loves it because he's like, Dad. That's when you find out who the rookies are. That's when you find sleepers for your fantasy football league because the preseason is the time for the guys who's trying to make the team to show what they can do. Like the kid from Ohio State who ran the opening kickoff back for the New England Patriots against your Washington Commanders. That kid made the team on that play. He made the team on that play. But Tom the Bomb ain't watching any preseason. Man, it was on. I clicked the channel and I was like, I think I'm going to watch this movie. I'm not watching the preseason football, man. I'm not doing that. I'm excited for the season to kick off. I'm ready for it, but I ain't watching no preseason football, man. I'm sorry. I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna watch the St. Louis Cardinals play a regular season game before I'm gonna watch and I even my 49ers were on. I didn't watch them either, man. So and the other thing I would have got there too, Felix, is they've been jumping on Ben Johnson for not playing Caleb Williams at all, not even letting him dress in the Bears' first preseason game. Let me just say this right quick. If your starting offensive line is not going to play, then why would your starting quarterback play? Think about that for a minute. If your starting offensive line is not going to play, why would you put your starting quarterback out there with a second or third string offensive line? That's insane. The lineman didn't play, so Caleb Williams didn't play. Well, people are just going crazy about the first preseason game of the year. Listen, talking about practice. They talking about practice, not a real game. Man, oh man, man, people, man, this NFL got people all twisted up, boy. I'm hoping you at least going to church on Sunday. Hey, gang, that's our show for today. Listen, don't forget to like and subscribe us on YouTube and hit that like bell, please. If you're enjoying the content and you'd like to bless our ministry, you can sow into the Tom the Bomb Sports Talk Show by cash apping us at $ Tom the Bomb Sports Talk. That's $ Tom the Bomb Sports Talk. And don't forget to check out our website at www.tomthebombsports.com. And you can also email us at info@tomthebombsports.com. Hey, gang, for a dynamic, in-depth sports analysis and highlights for sports in the DMV and more, check out the Washington Sports Den on Thursdays at 2 p.m. Eastern on WBGR with my main man, Mr. Felix Bassey. His future's so bright, he got to wear shades, man. Hey, man, time flies when you're having fun. Look, we're out of time here, but we sure do thank you and appreciate for spending your time with us. Listen, we don't take that for granted. Listen, may the gates of heaven open and pour out an abundance of blessings down on you that there won't be not room enough to receive it as you live off the overflow and step boldly into the realm of grace. Remember, if you want it, you got to confess it with your mouth and believe it in your heart that Jesus died on the cross and that he rose on the third day, not necessarily a Thursday, right, Lori?
Right.
Just for you. He'll leave the 99 to come for the one, the you. Hey, gang, Tom the Bomb wants to leave you with a thought today. Duct tape may patch a lot of things, but 3 nails fixed everything. Remember, darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. And hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. God bless you guys. We'll see you guys next week. God bless you. We'll see you same time, 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central, and 3 p.m. Pacific. We'll see you guys next week on this same bat time, on this same bat station. You guys have a good week. Thanks a lot, Felix.
Of course.
Good night, folks.
This is your time, and you gon' shine, and you gon' shine. Daughter of mine, this is your time, and you gon' shine, and you gon' shine.
Well, I'm coming out with a word in my mouth, filled with excitement to say what it's all about. For a long time, I've held this water in, let the floodgates open, let the miracles begin. I've prayed, and I've gone back 7 times, look again, cause the miracles are mine, stir the water. I'm about to step in like the pool of Bethesda, let the healing begin.
Daughter of mine, this is your time, and you gon' shine, and you gon' shine. Daughter of mine, this is your time, and you gon' shine, and you gon' shine.
It took a minute to get my composure right. For years it seems like I've been fighting for my life. Confusing times when my days resemble nights. But now this eagle is about to take flight and soar out of darkness to its revelation light. Though the waves are rough, I step out my comfort zone to walk on water, cause I know I'm not alone. God's got my back and reminds me I'm his own. His words are sweet in my mouth, they taste like a honeycomb. And faith has opened up my eyes. I've been through the fire, tested and tried. As I study God's word, I finally realize that my purpose to visualize, to bring the unseen from the realm of under night until I walk into the fullness of a purpose-filled life, cause I'm light. Yes, I am light, and I shine bright. I am an investment of the Lord Jesus Christ. Not only am I light, I am salt. When I enter in, I add flavor to it all. I bring truth, there's no dispute. Jesus is the vine, and in him I take fruit. I am the head, and not the tail. I'm an overcomer made free to prevail. A new design, a special kind, ambassador followed by wonders and signs. I am light,